Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Amra. I will share my screen and do the presentation in a minute. I will just tell you one word introduction because I would like you to know in what context we did the research. And then I will go more. So Museum of the History of Polish Jews focuses most on the history of Polish Jews, as the name says. But since the very beginning, we felt that as a modern museum, our responsibility is much wider. And so we deal a lot not only with the Jewish history, Jewish heritage, but we try also to focus on contemporary issues, especially antisemitism, but also all kinds of discrimination, xenophobia, multicultural connections and relations. And from many years, so far for more than 10 years, we are also giving anti-discrimination trainings for different groups. And we focus on antisemitism and on Polish-Jewish relations because this is our field of expertise, but usually we go far beyond it, depending on what are the needs of the target group. For example, we work a lot with law enforcement, with teachers, with municipality employees, with politicians. So it depends what are they need. We offer them trainings or materials according to this. And of course, a couple of years ago, we started to engage very strongly in implementing IHRA definition of antisemitism, since Poland finally also accepted this definition officially. And I will not discuss now the definition, which is on one side good, on the other side, one can give a lot of criticism to this definition, but the entrance point is that this is the only officially accepted definition by our government. This definition is now written in police documents, lawyers' documents, in the school curriculum. So we want people to understand how they can use it. That's one side. The other side was that, of course, when we deal with antisemitism and when we do trainings, etc., about how to build the community building with the Jews, how to understand, how to fight stereotypes, very often we see that we do not have common ground with our beneficiaries. Like, we are talking about something and they are understanding something else, if you know what I mean. So we decided that to make our offer better, we need to somehow look into the heads of our visitors. And that's how the idea of the quite specific, I believe, and unique research came to our mind. And this is what I would like to show you. What kind of research we did, like the methodology, what were the results, very shortly. I will also, if you don't have it yet, I will send you later the link to the full research report, which is available on our website in Polish and in English. And then I will try to tell you shortly what we do with this, yes, how we are using it or how you can use it, and what are our plans for the next few months if the money will let us to do it. Okay, so where is okay? Can you see my presentation? Great. So. Who do Poles see when they see a Jew? This was the primary research question. We were not researching antisemitism. We were not checking if there is or what level or how high, how long it changes the antisemitism in Poland, because there is a lot of good researchers, academic centers who are researching this on daily basis. So there is no reason for us to repeat these questions. But as I thought, we wanted to go a step behind and check why there is such antisemitism, how people learn about Jews, taking into the accounts that there are very few Jews in Poland. So most of people in Poland never ever met a Jew or Jewish community. And still they have so many anti-Semitic stereotypes, prejudices, etc. So why this kind of research? First was our interest, how, as you can see, there is a very interesting research of CNN from 2018. And between a lot of questions, there was one question, in what extent you have positive, neutral, or negative attitude towards Jews. And what we found that between all other countries participating in this research, how you can see in the subtitle, there was 7 countries participating in this research. The results in Poland are a little bit different. Like the neutral attitude toward Jews is smaller than in other countries, and both negative and positive is bigger. So it means that it's not irrelevant topic for most of us. Like topic, subject of Jewish issues really function in mind of most of the Poles, even though they do not have real contact with them. We know that stereotypes, like the general ideas, are daily piece of bread for us in the museum, and they are just pops up. Those quotations are from the short evaluation card we're asking people to fill in when they are leaving the core exhibition, and it's just a random choice. Yes, you see that most of them are deeply connected with general stereotypes which we do have about Jews. Yes, even walls in the museum are gold. Oh, does each of the museum employee has Pesach? Or shop is the easiest to find. Of course, this is such a museum. Of course, shop is the easiest to find. And what about data? Again, come back to this CNN anti-Semitism in Europe research. As you can see, in the general, in the 7 countries, for example, 20% thinks that Jews have too big impact on world media. In Poland, this is 26%. If we go to impact of world finances, again, in general, in 6 other countries, the data says 28% thinks the Jews have to make influence on the world finances. In Poland, it's 39. So we are thinking, how do people build their mind? I mean, how does it come from? And we chosen the semiotic analysis. Have you ever heard about this kind of researches? You know what is focused on? So semiotic analysis, it analyzes the whole picture. Like every message, every picture, every sentence brings a message, but in a whole, not only the words, as you can see on this example, for example, you have the same sentence, but it gives you a totally different information. And this is what semiotic focus on, to see not only the information, like the written information, but only with the whole context, what kind of image it gives to you about chosen phenomena in the world. Usually it's used for commercial reasons, for advertising, to check, what kind of picture can force people to buy Coca-Cola. Yes, and we wanted to check what kind of picture they see and how they see Jews. So our needs were to constitute this map of Jewish association in popular culture. What are the most positive, negative association? And then we were also wanted to go a step further and check what we can say to arouse curiosity rather than demons. Yes, what we can see to focus on this positive or informative information about Jews, not to focus, not to feed the stereotypes. We did the research in 3 parts. First, it was the semiotic analysis and check through the semiotics also the appearance of anti-Semitic narratives in popular culture. Then there were expert workshop and quality research with people of Jewish and non-Jewish self-identity, focus interviews. I will focus today on the first and the third stage. So, methodology. First, we made a collection of most popular text examples in Polish culture. They were books, movies, posters, press articles, memes, but also all these websites, internet commentaries, TikToks, Twitters, YouTube, etc. All together, we went through more than 3 billion records. And of course, it's not done physically. The semiotics are using the IT tools, which searched by the algorithm, then you have all this bunch of materials, and to try somehow to make order in it, to check what are the general groups in which you can learn about Jews. So you somehow divide it into the kind of meaning codes, and then after collecting more and more examples of Jewish topic appearing in popular culture, at one moment you see that it's saturated, like there is no new motifs, and then you can check a map which happened. We found that 99% of contexts when a reader or a user of popular culture, yes, a person who goes to the cinema, reads a book, read the internet, read the article in press, when this person will meet a Jew, I will say, like the topic around history and thing, each, like 99% goes to one of these four groups. This is suffering, like the images which are showing suffering, enslavement, weakness, mostly connected with the history, and kind of opposition, so effectiveness, power, glory, domination of Jews. But on the other hand, you have also two other oppositions, that there are those Jews who are showed as a kind of mystery, otherness, group or people which we just cannot understand. And in the opposite, the kind of familiarity, understanding, my friend Jew. And to go closer, this is how it looks in this code. So suffering, this all kinds of pictures or books or movies showing the nameless victims, the lost youth, the murdered world. It doesn't mean that, the semiotic question is not about are they positive or negative. They are not judging semiots, like the researchers, if the picture is true or not, or it's positive or it's zero. They just try to make in order from what we are learning about Jews. If we don't have our personal experience, if we don't learn in proper way in Jewish community or at school, etc. So this is what attacks us. Yes, this suffering, enslavement, isolation, fear, absence, like the lost word, and the glory, power, and domination. This is all these connections with strong player, with knack of finance, financial geniuses, of course, Jewish lobby, of course, outstanding, super intelligent Jews who changed the world and who are, leader in Nobel Prize getting. And then this otherness, always mysterious rituals. They're on the other side. They also have the other different values, like money are the biggest value for them, which is also mysterious for people who are not Jewish. This is this kind of world behind curtains. And my Jewish friend, yes, all this feeling that this is something we want to have in our world. We are producing and using some kind of Jewish fetishes, like picture with Jew with a coin who should bring us money to home, or who are saying Jewish jokes, etc. And just to go a little bit deeper, I will show you some examples, because if you will go to the report, you will not find their pictures, because as you will see in a moment, those pictures are very often very, very anti-Semitic. So we do not want repeat or give them to the audience. So in our report, you will find description. Here I will give you some examples we're working on. So suffering and victims. This is the most of the pictures probably yes, from the movies about the Holocaust, about pre-Second World War history, about the expulsion of Jews from different countries. So they build this feeling of the lost word, lost youth, and they are usually they don't give the personal names, they just give you the picture of the whole group of people sharing the same faith. And we're checking what are the anti-Semitic potential of these pictures. And as you can see, we found that there is plenty of anti-Semitic information, revelation, pictures using the motives of Holocaust or of the history or of the murdering of the Jews. The same goes more or less with it with effectiveness of power. So you have these examples of all these outstanding Jews, which are very wisdom and financial geniuses. So this is what we learn. For example, this book you see is Economy in Judaism. There is a lot or Jewish political lobby. So since we were doing it in Polish, most of the pictures are with Polish. And all this anti-Semitism connected potential of this power. Yes, like the Jews who are taking over the world, who are ruling the world, who are responsible for world crises. And the third one, otherness, mystery. This is a thing which usually is the most problematic when we discuss that it can be something dangerous or with anti-Semitic potential, because this is a lot of these movies very popular now, like Unorthodox, for example. It's like the movies which are revealing the mystery of very mysterious religious Jewish life, which is unbelievable and understandable. And of course, again, it very often have this anti-Semitic potential, which gives that they are so mysterious and the values of Jews are so different than that they are always the others. And the third one, familiarity and understanding. This is usually the most light or positive cooperation. So it has less anti-Semitic awareness. And as I told you, that after checking what people see, and after trying to understand on what they build their information or their image of Jew, basing on this picture we can see, we were thinking what kind of anti-Semitic narratives are built using these pictures and using the calling to these pictures. So first we use this map of motifs of quotes about Jews, and then we read thoroughly few thousand texts from internet, from Twitter, from social media. Only from the research was taken in 2022, so only from 2018, 2022, because we wanted to have like current picture. And we found 10 dominant narrative motifs that we found that even if you sometimes see that the imagination of anti-Semite are never ending, if you try to make an order, you see they're very, very boring. Like everything goes more or less with the same narratives. Those motifs, those 10 repeating anti-Semitic motifs, sometimes connected with each other, sometimes disconnected, sometimes used in totally non-Jewish context, but they're always repeating. And 99%, if you find an article about anti-Semitic message, or you find a comment in the internet, or you find a politician using the anti-Semitic ressentiments in Poland for his political reason, he will use one of these motifs. And what most, he will, or she, or the article will build a kind of narration based on these motifs. So again, there are usually 3 narrative schemes, and they're used everywhere, like this way of ungrateful people, conspiracy theory, and healthy national egoism. As you can see, they use the pictures we made from semiotic research, from this code, like the superpower Jew or mysterious Jew, but they build the ideas about Jews trying to jeopardize us, yes, or attack us. Or what was also interesting that when we were finishing this research, it was just after, like, when we were doing these researches, it was just after beginning of the war in Ukraine. It was just after attack of Russia to Ukraine. And very soon we found, in the long way of narratives about this war, both about the Ukrainian, about Russia, about what is going on, about refugees, they were those motives, especially the first one on ungrateful people, but also the conspiracy theories, used to make balagan, or to build the polarization between the people about the war in Ukraine. So the narration about ungrateful people was one-to-one the narration we know from ages about the Jews who were rescued by Poles. Now this same was used about the Ukrainians rescued by Poles and now not grateful enough. Or there was a lot of theories that building the idea that the Jews are somehow responsible for the war of Ukraine because they are benefiting from this, or the Israel is responsible because it was the way how Israel wanted to bring the rest of the Jewish people from Ukraine to make Aliyah, force them because they didn't want. So there was the idea we found, like, when the new phenomena in the world pop-ups, very soon the old narratives about Jews pop-ups also, they are just fitted to the new ideas. We were working then with the experts, I will skip it, and then we just did quite interesting quality research in Jews and non-Jews, because we knew there is no revelation, like we didn't discover, a kind of new attitude of people toward Jews. We knew what are the stereotypes, but what we wanted to know is how people build the stereotypes and where is it come from. And we see that actually there is no way for people, for general audience in Poland, to build other picture of Jew, because they don't have other pictures. Yes, like they don't have other representations of Jewish words. And then we were inviting groups of Jewish and non-Jewish people to check if it reflects to what they see or what they experience on the everyday basis. So we were asking them what is Jewish identity for them, and what was, for Jews, it was mostly the mix of culture, religion, history, heritage, national identity. This is how the Jews were saying, what does it mean for them being a Jew? If the question was for non-Jews, it was more about actually how and what kind of people they are, not who they are. So it were many about the religion, tradition, but also about physical features, items of clothing, and a non-Jewish definition of Jews were very much concerned or focused on the otherness. We are also asking the young Jews what are their Jewish identity. So as you can see, there is different attitude or different definition of self-identity between older generation of Jews and younger generation of Jews. And it also influenced the way how they perceive the antisemitism, but we'll come to this later. After the first conversation general about Jewish identity, about understanding of Jews, then we went to the results of our first researches, and we were checking if those codes from semiotic, if those codes of suffering, effectiveness, otherness, and familiarity reflects in the minds of our interviewees. And what is very interesting, as you can see, for the younger, it's mostly for the non-Jewish, because it was actually the most interesting for us was how non-Jews see or understand what the Jew is, who the Jew is. So as you can see, the older interviews mostly connected just with all this historical weakness, Holocaust connection, and with mysterious and and otherness. When the younger generation of Poles, of non-Jewish Poles, were mostly connecting on thinking about Jews in the scope of familiarity, openness for the otherness, but also of a group to be honored, like they are very powerful, dominative, effectiveness, and to be jealous for. And the most of the connections or things when we're asking, what do you think, with what kind of where would you put, what kind of ideas about Jews you have, we would put them into the 6 groups. And as you can see, this is exactly what we had. So the people, how they describe who Jews are, was exactly the same what they seen before. Yes, so they learn from the movies, and then this is what they were sure the Jews are all about. Also, we were checking all these things about the codes, how people judge them, if they think they're popular or not, if they see them real or not. And the most real, like the true, and the most popular are, you see all the things connected with the finances, nameless victims, also history and money are the strongest or in general audience mind. So this is also what we know from our educational perspective, that this is, we have to challenge these ideas mostly, yes, because if people first they are aware that this is the kind of picture of Jews they see, but the other hand, they think it's the true picture. So this is what we need to challenge. We were also asking, and it was the one thing which was really surprising in our research, that in the focus group we were asking about anti-Semitism, and we found that both groups, Jews and non-Jews, especially young one, they are very, very unwilling to use the term anti-Semitism. For most of the people, the word anti-Semitism is connected very strongly to very, very hard events like fascism, the past Holocaust, and very strong physical aggression, exclusion. And they think that this word is too strong to nowadays reality. So if we're discussing about the examples of anti-Semitic behaviors in Poland, they would rather name them as racism, resentment, exclusion, xenophobia, stereotypes, but avoiding use the word of anti-Semitism. And in the same manner, if we're asking who the anti-Semite is, it was not clear, but generally found that in the imagination of our interviewees, it was like everybody can be anti-Semite. Like it's not connected with the level of education, it's not connected with the religion background, big or small city background, social background. Also, we are checking what kind of anti-Semitism they meet most, and this is the kind of map of types of anti-Semitism our interviewees, both Jews and non-Jews, were able to focus on. Yes, that this is very much of this historical, economical anti-Semitism, but also a lot of playing with the Jew anti-Semitism, so using the anti-Semite in political games, for example, but also a lot of this non-strong, like thoughtless anti-Semitism, sport, graffiti, symbols, and this is how it goes, like which are very common. And every of our interviewees, like Jewish and non-Jewish, admitted he met this kind of jokes, ridiculous, sometimes some mockery. Physical acts or strong acts of anti-Semitism are not very often in Poland, or our interviewees never met or never were attacked in this kind of view. But in the same time, they very often, especially non-Jewish audience, say that this kind of jokes or ridiculous are not really dangerous, like just the jokes, just the small words, yes. And this is also about the types of anti-Semitism, but this is the last part I wanted to show you, that using this opportunity that we're talking with the people who want to talk with us about the anti-Semitism, about the picture of the Jew they have, or about how they are attacked by the anti-Semitism or touched by the anti-Semitism. We're asking them also what are their ideas of combating anti-Semitism, and this is what we found, that we divided into the efficient and non-efficient way, and also in a way which are efficient and relevant for Jews and for non-Jews. And as you can see, this is quite different. And what it's like the very efficient for non-Jewish audiences, for example, this exposure of Jews. So, exposure who is really Jews. And it was very connected with one of the very strong this stereotype or repeated, that they are hiding. Yes, that they are pretending they are not Jews and they are doing these Jewish things behind them. So that was very interesting. And what we found, that for all of the groups, education and individual education is the most efficient. And this is what I wanted to show. Thank you very much.